It was a hot and humid Saturday morning, so what did I do? Got some comics. Let's take a look at what I grabbed up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Also, follow us on Instagram at Bronzeville_comics. On Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. I have sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. This Monday, August 8th. We'll be doing a Sandman sale. And we'll also have plenty of other keys available. And then you can check out my eBay store, link in the description below. So this is just your basic average running around on a Saturday morning haul video. So the first place I went was I got up real early and was up early at the Meadowlands flea market. So I was just kind of looking around there, and there was one vendor that had some Silver Age books, mostly DC. I picked up a couple of adventure comics. That's all I really got from this vendor. This one's a little bit lower grade, but it is, $3.23. I really have to catalog exactly what I have in that run so I can be sure of what I have. Then there's a frequent seller that I see there. Will was set up as he usually is, and he has good books and usually nice prices. So I got this, second Mr. Sinister, first cover appearance. Of course, I just got back a first Mr. Sinister at 221 and a CGC 9.8. First full appearance of Bishop. Part of the Maxim Carnage storyline. Is that a newsstand? And another 380. More Maxim Carnage. Of course, we're kind of over Carnage after last year, but I picked this up. I like this. This is the first Jim Lee on X-Men, but it's the second print. And sometimes the second print is a little bit harder to come by than the first. This is a pretty sharp copy. My buddy Joe from 360 Comics had done a video on second prints of this era. Speaking of second prints, I'd never seen this one before. This is the second print of 362, which is the second appearance of Carnage. Really cool cover there. Picked up this, Justice Society of America 9, this Alex Ross Power Girl cover. Can't go wrong with that. Just another Vision, Scarlet Witch, Wonder Man and Vision. It'd be interesting to see if they connect Wonder Man to Scarlet Witch / Vision / White Vision in some manner. If you're not aware of his history in the comics, Vision's brainwaves originally were basically implanted by Wonder Man, who was dead at the time. And so then when Wonder Man comes back to life a little bit later on, there's sort of this love triangle, because since Vision got his brainwaves from Wonder Man and he loves Scarlet Witch, well, Wonder Man also loves Scarlet Witch. You know, it's sort of like those separated twins. They find out that they both, married women named Nancy or something. This, I think, this might be a second print. This is a Deathstroke the Terminator #1. This is a second print. This second print doesn't really have much value, interestingly, for that book, but figured as it completes, I pick it up. This is a book that moves. I sold this with an X-Men sale a couple weeks ago. Really cool Art Adams cover. Heroes for Hope X-Men. One shot that at the time, this was about, I believe, about the same time, if you're too young to have lived through it, if you've ever heard the song We Are the World, with numerous musical artists at the time. It was a big thing as I was entering college. To fight famine in Africa, this sort of jumped on that bandwagon. X-Men 2099. Captain Atom #1. It was cheap enough. And then I went to some other Avengers. I picked up this early Avengers. I thought this was a pretty good deal. Number 29. Grab that. And 42. I'm probably going to be doing an Avengers sale soon, so I figured I'd bolster up some. This, actually, I picked these up from CGL's Comics and New Jersey Comic and Collectibles. He was set up there. This 158, and I had talked about Wonder Man and Vision, and this is this classic fight between the two. And then this is also, these are lower grade, about a 127. With the Fantastic Four and the Inhumans, really cool cover there. $138. And these are kind of mid-ish grade. And this is a pretty cool one, Submariner and 117. And also, then I left the Meadowlands because it was about a half an hour from my house, and there was an estate sale about half an hour in the opposite direction of my house from the Meadowlands. So I figured, okay, 30 minutes, take a 30-minute drive. I'll see what's there. And I got there. There were a bunch of people there, and they had a list. So I was number 33 on the list. The listing showed pictures of comic books. They had a stack of comic books, and on the top was a World's Finest Comics from the late 60s with the checkerboard pattern on the top. So I figured, who knows what else is there? I didn't surprise myself. I got there pretty much too late. And I ran into a guy, friend of the channel, Nick, and we were chatting. And, he was kind of looking at the same stuff I was, and he had a number earlier than mine. And interestingly, he was 21. He went in, he came out, and he had maybe 7 comic books he had paid, I think, like $45 for. And there was a World's Finest, a couple of other DC comics from that era. There was a Flash Gordon 2 and some 3D books. And he said everything else was like Sad Sack and Richie Rich. I'm like, figures. So I didn't even wait around. I just cut bait. But we had a nice conversation. He's, about what he collects and, what we have in common and what we've come across. But the fact is, he went in, he had number 21, and he went in and he said he was the first one to look at the comic books, which is really unusual for an estate sale. Usually coins and comics are like gone in a blink of an eye at estate sales. But what a lot of people seem to be there were for the guns. And I guess this estate had a lot of vintage guns. So as the two of us were walking towards our cars, this older gentleman comes up and he had a shopping bag. He goes, "I want to see what I got?" And he had a handgun in there, an antique handgun. I said, "How old is that?" He goes, "It's probably from about 1820. And there were a couple other guys loading, like 19th century rifles into their car and stuff. But when I go, I'm only there for the comics. And I got nothing. So, because I'd been at the Meadowlands real early and not everybody had set up, I decided, let me scope it out again just to break up the ride on the way home, because it's pretty much directly on the way home. I just have to get off the highway. There was one other vendor I hit up. I got this. It's Showcase number 42, the second appearance of Tommy Tomorrow. I'm low-key picking up Showcase books. That was like $5. I picked this up, Spider-Woman number 1. Never sure which Spider-Woman they're going to use in the Sonyverse, or if that's going to be at all helpful to the values of the books. This I got for $1. Superboy Zero, which is the first cameo appearance of King Shark, who we've seen not only in the Suicide Squad movie, but in the Harley Quinn animated series. I picked up one Archie book. I'm going to throw this into an Archie sale, and you can maybe take a wild guess why this might have value. Archies with bikinis have value. There's this one I tossed in. It was I think this was $1. Moon Knight 5. Why not for $1? And this was the other book I paid. I think the Tommy Tomorrow book, and then this I paid $5 for because I like the vintage on it. This is issue 134 of World's Finest Comics. And what kind of hooked me was up at the top, a big Green Arrow adventure. So this is going to go in the PC. Then, to break up the ride home, I stopped by Street Side Anthony's, and I picked up, here's an Avengers 246. I believe this is the first time that Star Fox meets She-Hulk. And it's a newsstand. 148 with the Squadron Supreme. I really like that cover, too. They just... large number of characters. And then I think everything else I picked up is Sandman related. Number 33. So I think these are all going to be at my sale. Number 22. 21. There is one issue I'm missing. I picked up the Sandman Universe sketch cover. That'll be pretty cool. This is number 2. I've been watching the series. I've watched the first 4 episodes now. Number 10. This is the first appearance of the Corinthian, who plays a major part in the Netflix series. Oh, and then I picked up 2 others. Another Avengers book. I don't recall the significance of this. And then I picked this up. Batman Superman 23, which is the first Batman Beyond in continuity. So that's my haul for today. That was just a quick Saturday, out and about. Just, you know, as I said, I stopped by Street Side Anthony's. Always good to go there, talk comics. Nelson was there, Vincent was there. We just had, that's more so that I go for than to find books a lot of times, is just to meet people from the community and talk comics, and that thrill of the hunt, because you never know at that estate sale what you're going to find. This one, I found nothing. Like, literally, I walked away without even going in the house, because the guy Nick said he picked up all the superhero stuff, and again, it was just like Richie Rich and Sad Sack that was left, and I just didn't want to deal with that. I get some of that when I pick up collections. I actually had gotten a Sad Sack 16 from the 1950s, and that it sold for like $15 or something, because I think that was still considered golden age when that came out. So let me know what you think. As I said, I've been watching the Sandman series on Netflix. I'm really enjoying it. The only thing I'm slightly disappointed by, which makes perfect sense, is that the first kind of story arc, which is what they're covering in the Netflix series, the series differs from the comic book. No doubt about it. But in the comic, they early on were still connected to the DC universe. And there were DC characters that were included in that that first story arc. And Gaiman kind of moved away from that as time went on. But that was just kind of fun for me to see in there. Obviously, I think they included like Martian Manhunter and Mr. Miracle. And because Dr. Destiny, who is essentially the character that David Thewlis is playing in this, is a old-time Justice League villain. And they brought him into the Sandman storyline. Gaiman did. But they've kind of eliminated all the Justice League connections in here. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. I recommend it. For all the people who say that all the DC stuff stinks, it's very haphazard. It's not interconnected. But this is another example of a really good show. We're also getting the Harley Quinn series. We had, like I've said this many times before, Peacemaker, the Batman. You go back to the Joker, Watchmen, the HBO series. Just really good stuff. And even many of the movies are good movies. It's just there's no cohesive plan. Maybe there will be now, but that Warner Brothers really has to prove it to the fans that they can put something together that's cohesive. And I think their best bet is to kind of have parallel universes let Matt Reeves do what he wants with Robert Pattinson Batman and that universe, which is a little more adult, a little darker, and then have something that involves the characters as a whole. They have a 10-year plan. I think they should have a 13-year plan. And why do I say 13 years? Because 2035 will be the 100th anniversary of DC Comics. And I think they should really build towards a huge event, a huge cinematic event to celebrate that, use the comics to back that up. It's going to be the 100th anniversary. And remember, it was the 50th anniversary of DC that resulted in the Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries. So the 100th anniversary, maybe we'll get something a little bit bigger if they can figure out. And listen, if they want any input, I'm available. I could give them. There's so many characters that they haven't used, underused. They have more than just the trinity of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. But I digress. A lot of great opportunity out there. I haven't been taking advantage of it. So anyway, this is Jim saying, check out a couple of my other videos here. And until next time, enjoy your comics.